Okay, hi everybody. I've just been crying and I just talked to my cousin and my mom, and I really didn't want to do that because I felt like nothing can cheer me up anyway and nothing really matters and everything's fucked. And they ordered me food. What kind of car is this outside? I want to see. But do you remember how earlier there was, I don't know if it's a Subaru, it doesn't look like a Toyota Matrix. A Subaru is a good sign. But I feel like there's some Guardian gang stalkers helping me out here. I made a video earlier and I realized afterwards that the microphone didn't work. The microphone ran out of batteries. And then I lost a subscriber and I was feeling helplessly sad. I just have to go upstairs to look at what kind of car this is. Car that is? Maybe it's a Mazda. Well, it's a nice car. You know, I definitely feel like there are a lot of gang stalkers who have my back. And I was really confused and kind of concerned because they put the fucking, the ones who hate me drove a Volkswagen and those are the ones who helped me. And I was like, oh, no, the ones who help you, the ones who hate you, copy the ones who help you to ruin whatever help you're getting. The ones who hate you are trying to make it think that the ones who help you are the ones who hate you. So today they used a good Guardian gang stalker car to make me think the Guardian gang stalkers are the non-Guardian gang stalkers. So I was feeling pretty upset. Like I wanted to look out to see if it was a sign from Dance Girl. I was like, don't do that. Okay, Dance Girl does not like you. You are moving on from her at this point. And in her mind, she believes that whenever you talk about her, she has the right to, even if you talk about her on the phone to someone in private, she believes that she has the right to hurt you and to stalk you for that. And I was just like beside myself. That, how can that be real? And my cousin was like, some people just aren't even aware. Like they treat you bad and they don't even know it. I was like, her whole family does. My mom was like, why haven't you told me about her? And I was like, because she doesn't treat me good. I was waiting for us to actually be boyfriend and girlfriend before I tell you about her. Now what she's gonna say is, no, you didn't tell anyone because you're a Michael Jackson Teletubby fucker. I'm like, Dance Girl's been 16 for 3 years. She's been 16 since 3 years ago. Why didn't I tell them? Because she doesn't care about me and because I'm being forced into this fucking relationship. And it's not even a relationship, it's like a master-slave relationship. And so I like once I got off the phone, I was just like crying. I was like, okay, bye guys. I like instantly start crying. And then earlier on I was crying too. Like it just fucking sucks so bad. And my cousin is like, yeah, I just got off the phone with my boyfriend, who is like, she's like, do you want to come visit me? He's like, yeah, I guess. Maybe. Yeah, sure, whatever. And she's like, it doesn't really sound like you care about me. And he goes, well, I'm not trying to have any like issues right now. So I'm trying to just have a good night's sleep here. And I'm like, oh my God, Helen, this guy fucking sucks. Like this guy clearly feels like he doesn't deserve you. And my mom was like, you know, I had this one guy in high school who he was like super cool. And he just fucking took some interest in me. And I was like, why does he like me? He's so cool. But then when I got to know him, he wasn't that nice to me. And I'm like, that's how I felt about Dance Girl. Like, she was like so cool. Like, she's the it girl. She's popular. And then she's just not even fucking nice to me. And sometimes she is. But that's a trap. And so I'm like, I got a pinhead and I'm a fucking muffin top. And so I'm an easy target. I'm a loser. You know, one of my dad's friends said that. He has a huge dick. Pink hair, looks like the guy from Tekken with the bald head, one of the main guys, but with pink hair. And he said, I said something to him, and he goes, and this is one of my dad's friends here. This is one of the people who I go, oh, anything you say matters. He goes, I forget what I said, but he says, do you know what that makes us? It makes us losers. And I was like, you know, that's deep. Like coming, you know, it's the way someone says something. And my mom had this one boyfriend, Scott, and he's the one who my grandma held up a straw, and she says, does this remind you of anything? And fucking, my mom said, this guy, he was so nice for the first couple of months. And then after, he just started acting like a huge jerk. And she said, eventually I realized that really was the real him. He was just a fucking jerk. And he faked it for a while. And I'm like, you know, I just got told by Dance Girl that this is all my fault for staring at her for 3 seconds after I had realized that her friends, which were a 5-year-old girl and a girl her own age, were stalking me and her family as well. And she's like, you didn't have the right involved in that. And I'm like, intuition told me that you were, and that's totally my right to be stunned by that. And now you're like, she has this girl like she's babysitting and she waves hi to her but not to me, like to show like, yeah, I intentionally didn't show up on your date and now I'm here to intentionally dump you and show you that I would never say hi to you. I'm just a babysitter. And I'm like, that fucking did it for me. I'm like, that really showed me, like, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I was like, and now they have people unsubscribing from my channel too. I'm sure they have gang stalkers who subscribe just to unsubscribe, just to punish me. And I'm like, go ahead, you know, go, if that's Dance Girl unsubscribing, go ahead and unsubscribe. My mom was like, is this someone who lives close by? Like you see them? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes, but I don't even care anymore if I see them. Like, I'm like, you know, I thought this is like the worst day ever. But before I met Dance Girl, I was already getting over Chelsea. I was already starting to not jack off to femdom porn. I was like jacking off to normal porn. I was like a fucking happy guy. Like, I was literally becoming a not insane guy. And I'm like, how could you do this? Why would you just trick me? Why would you trick me to gain my affection when you don't even want my affection to begin with? And, you know, her paternal grandparents standing at the corner staring at me, that wasn't a nice gesture. That was saying, we're staring at you just like you stared at her. Well, what's your excuse? Let's trace it back to where it all started. What's your excuse? So I think none of these people have a good fucking sense of logic or a sense of emotional maturity, no matter how old they get. They seem like an entire family full of immature people who are bullies. They seem truly like bullies. And it's hard to admit that when you're duped by it. When you're strung along and you're trauma bonded and you're waiting for the reassurance that they go, no, it's okay now. And now I'm gonna be nice to you. It was all misunderstanding, now I'm gonna be really nice to you. And you're waiting for that. You're waiting for the next fucking relief. And I see this car out front. Why would I have to stay away? That's you who hasn't gotten over me. If you have to avoid someone, it means you haven't gotten over them. You know, I can see you and not have a fucking meltdown. And so, you know, clearly these people are immature and they're projecting and they're bullies. And I'm glad I know it. I'm glad I know it because I've been fucking stuck on Dance Girl for years. And it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go. And sometimes you really need to have it very clearly put into perspective for you that it is the way it appears and it really fucking sucks. And you don't just give people the benefit of the doubt over and over. So, I mean, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say this because you're supposed to wait 24 hours after you're angry. But I'm like, what excuse could there be for this? This is clearly just malicious. I mean, except if the car wasn't actually, you know, fucking threatening an accident, which I think it was. But even if it's not malicious, there's such a long history of maliciousness that I feel like it's just even getting dumped after being strung along and strung along for so long, that it's like, even still, even if she amicably dumped me, I would still be like, why did you do that to me for so long? You took away many years of my valuable life. And like, don't you value life? Like, what? Why would you fucking not value my life? Like, how, that's just fun for you? Like, you know, it's not flattering. You know, when someone's like, yeah, but I get off on you. It's like, yeah, that's not flattering though. When I'm not allowed to get off too, it's like not flattering. And even if I am in a fucking slave master bondage, the whole thing about being a slave is that whole consent bit. That really matters when it comes to fucking slavery and bondage. So I'm fucking irked with this whole family, with this whole TSF family. I feel like they weren't just unaware, oh, it's just the fucking Teletubbies are sneaking out of the house with some stalking SA. I think they always knew, they always didn't care. It's fun for all of them. That's what I really think. And good riddance to be over them. As painful as it is, as crying as it is, and I know after I turn the video off, I'm gonna start crying again. I know I'm all fired up right now. I know I'm all fired up right now. And afterwards I'm gonna be fucking crying again. But I'm just in shock. How do you treat me like this? And Helen was saying some people just don't know. They really don't know. So anyway, Helen ordered me pad thai. She got it delivered. It was really nice. She just got a $5,000 check from her work. Like, that's her paycheck, is five grand. That's probably normal for a lot of people. But I mean, from your cousin who's like 30, it's like, oh, that's a lot of money. That's cool. And I couldn't even talk to them. Like, I was just like, fuck, man. I'm just so sad. I felt like Helen's boyfriend. I was like, not in a Charles Darwin way, because he's just a big mope. He's just like everything. He's like Eeyore. And I was like, I was inconsolable. I was like, I don't want to talk. You know, I sent Helen a video. I started crying on the video. And then my mom and her saw it, and they're eating truffle cake. And they called me, and we were on the phone for like an hour. And they're just cheering me up, and they're just helping me out. And I'm like, for like 20 minutes, I'm just like, yeah. I'm just like, oh, I just want to go. I'm thinking I just want to go so bad. I just want to go. Like, I just want to go cry. I just want to lay down. I just want to crawl under a rock. I just want to not eat. And I thought, go on the fucking camera and make a video for your subscribers who are not TSF. And don't vent at TSF. If vent at them, like tell them how much you resent them. But get used to making a video for a random audience too. Like you do have subscribers, and that matters a lot to you. As far as YouTube is concerned, having 100 subscribers isn't that big a deal. But feeling like 100 people are listening to me, that's actually really cool. And there's a lot of people who are listening to me who are probably, the majority of them, I don't even care at all about. Because I'm just like, well, I only care about Dance Girl and no one else. And I'm like, that's over now? Now you gotta talk to the random audience. And you gotta be super hot guy. You gotta be super positive, happy, healthy guy, which you already are, but just even more so. And hope that someone who loves you sees it. Make it for that person. Make it for the person who loves you. And so that's hard to do. When you've only been talking to one person for years, that's pretty hard to do. Like, they say it takes a while to get over someone. And I'm like, well, I got some good fuel here. So, and again, I'm all energized up right now. And this is very much a shell. What I would really like to do is to sob. I would really like to just sob. And when I was crying, I didn't even care. I thought, I bet Dance Girl's watching on hidden cam and she's going to feel really bad. I was like, I don't even care. And so when her apparently paternal grandparents were staring at me, that's why the dress was there. That was from the Guardian gang stalkers saying she's fucking with you. And she isn't allowed to do that. They don't understand, but we understand. They understand blood and money, and that's it. And you don't have to ever talk about blood or money. We will talk about that. You just talk about, things that don't get you in trouble. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Because I'm like an innocent little baby with a pinhead and a muffin top. And I'm an easy target, and I'm fucking like a sweetheart. So I'm an easy target. And like you shouldn't get to hurt people like that. There should be people who say you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. And I'm like, yeah, now I got it. And I'm just heartbroken that how could you do that to me, Dance Girl? How could you do that to me? I thought you were so much nicer than that. But now, and it makes me feel like the guilty one to call you a jerk and to call you a bully and to say I'm hurt, my feelings are hurt by you. That you've used me and you've abused me. And now I've wasted all this time. And I feel like before I knew you, I was happier. And after, I couldn't even feel happy anymore after getting to know you. And then I wasn't even allowed to leave you. And you kept me around, and then when I finally said I love you and let's be together, then you wouldn't even be with me. You wouldn't even let me leave, and you wouldn't even be with me. Why would you do that to me? What did I ever do to you? And I would have loved you. I saw that you have no butt. I did see that. And I would have loved you. I'm really disappointed. I can't believe you'd be watching this. I can't for the life of me figure out why you'd be watching this right now. Just to fucking enjoy, just to enjoy the effect that you have of hurting somebody. I'm really ashamed of you. You should be embarrassed of yourself. You should feel perverted and mean. And all of you TSF fuckers, with the exception of some of them. And yeah, I can fucking, once the camera turns on, it's very difficult for me to talk to anyone except TSF. But in my mind already, I've already cried, thinking they're watching, enjoying that they're feeling guilty for how much pain I'm in, that we're still bonded through trauma. And I was like, no, I really don't care. So I think that I'm moving towards a healthier mindset. And as far as feeling ugly, that I got one foot in the grave and I'm an old man and I have no time to get any dates, I got this new linen shirt. I think I look pretty good in it, actually. And I could do some push-ups. I already water fasted for 25 days. I can eat apples and watermelon, and I can get healthy. That's fun for me. Now, of course, does it really matter? Okay, it's super gay when guys are fit. Lifting weights is gay, I know. But what I like the most is feeling meditation. And I've lost contact with that for a long time. And I think that that's the gift I'm getting back. And my meditation, when I was in love with Chelsea, was even better than that. It was the highest thing I had ever experienced in my life. By far, by millions of times. It was incomparably higher. And I felt great pity for Chelsea. I thought, it really sucks that you've only pretended to love me, and that I've believed you, and that I've got the reward of being in love, and that I've moved up to a higher level, that I've used love as the God to bridge, that I've used, Again, I'm sex lexic. That I've used love as the bridge to God. And, you know, yes, Dance Girl, you were just a baby when you made this wrong assumption. But now you're 19, and now you should have the insight, and your family doesn't. And so probably you don't either. And so, like, it clearly appears that you don't either, and that you never will. And so therefore, because I have no sign of anything ever changing, I'm letting go of you. And I know I'm saying it over and over again, okay? I know that sounds like, well, do you really mean it? I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Well, I'm doing my best. I'm really trying. And I think being angry and expressing resentments is part of it. It's hard for me to believe. I was like, wait till tomorrow, you're gonna have a different perspective. I was like, I don't know, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's pretty clear. I got stood up and then I got threatened. I think it's pretty clear. I'm like, good. Secretly, I must have been expecting this the whole time. I wanted to prove, I wasn't expecting this, but the meaning I make now, like when I go back and I look at it from just writing my own fan fiction, what kind of meaning do I make out of it now? I say, this is good. This is really good. You gave her a chance and you proved she's a bully. And you're not responsible for her. Because she might be a good person, but who has brainwash. But that's not your responsibility. And when your enemy poisons you, or your friend poisons you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she's a good person. When you're the one who's getting poisoned, for your own protection, for your own life, you don't owe it to her to say, oh, but you're a good person and one day you're going to figure it out and I'll wait for you and I'll keep it open in my heart for you. I'm like, move on and just forget her. And she would love it if you don't. But that doesn't mean she loves you. She would love it to hurt you. And that's the part that makes no sense to me. How can anyone do that? Because I can't even understand that. For the life of me, I cannot fucking understand that. So Helen was saying, yeah, I guess I might just be single forever. And I was like, yeah, me too. And she's like, well, my life could still be good. And I was like, not mine. I need a girlfriend or my life sucks. But it was nice talking to her. It was nice talking to my mom. It's nice talking to the audience here on YouTube. And it was nice too, seeing the fucking car outside, thinking, I wonder if it's Dance Girl making a sign. I was like, I don't care. If that's her, if she's doing something outside, I actually don't want to know. And then I looked to see what kind of car it was, because I wanted to see if it's a Subaru. And it turns out I think it's a Mazda maybe. I wanted to see if it's a car of a Guardian gang stalker, saying, we have your back here. And that was a good sign. I was like, I'm still part of the community here. And then we had some food delivered by Uber. I was like, is my food gonna be spit in? I'm gonna trust it's not. Is there gonna be pubes in it? My cousin was like, I'm gonna put a note, no pubes. I was like, it's so nice that I shaved my face so I don't mistake my mustache hair for pubes. And the driver was nice. I mean, with the exception of some of the fucking gang stalkers, they were all nice. You know, even the enemy gang stalkers were all nice. You know, no one like did an overt assault where they like really run at me. You know, they did the thing where they ride in your way, but they do it from up ahead, so that it's just a gesture of a threat. So it's like, yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. And then the other gang stalkers were all really nice. You know, and I said hi with an open heart, like with niceness. And I'm like, you should fucking work out, guy. I'm like, work out. Seriously, get a hot body. Like, for real. Like, you really fucking ought to do it. And I'm trying so hard not to jack off right now. And the only thing that's keeping me from doing it, I'm imagining like this Reddit slutty confessions where these girls go to their gynecologist and they let a cream pie drip out while their gynecologist is checking them. And in the comments, people are like, you're a fucking monster. They're like, you're fucking sick. Like, that's really fucking sick. And, you know, I'm thinking of like, so watching a cream pie video, imagining I'm a gynecologist and imagining that it's some girl who's abusing me. And she's like, surprise. And she's like, you know, hiding in plain sight her sexual intent, which makes me feel like validated as a man. And it makes me feel degraded. And when I was crying, I wanted to jack off real bad. Being so sad made me want to cry. Or made me want to jack off, I mean. It made me want to fucking use that feeling and jack off with that feeling. Because it was just so hot. Like, yeah, I just want to feel so sad and jack off. And I was like, the only thing you're jacking off to is getting fucking abused. And you don't even want that. And just, I swear to God, jack off tomorrow. Give yourself permission to jack off tomorrow. And just get through the night. Just get through the night, okay? You've went over a month. It's going to be the worst night of your life. You got Helen cheering you up. She delivered you a pad thai. You got your mom and her, and there's a new cat in the yard. A fucking cat is in the yard with a red tag for anyone who's watching that looks like Stu. I would have caught him. And I would have called the number, but I couldn't catch him. He was over at the window looking at Mika. It's a young cat. I thought, oh my God, it's Stu. And I was like, that's not Stu. Now, is that serendipitous? That might be. And so I was like, get through the night, and by tomorrow, you're going to feel that you're glad you didn't check off. And remember what Osho says, if you use sex energy with people you don't love, you remain in bondage for your entire life. And it's one of the biggest shocks, that the thing that keeps you in bondage the longest is sex. And you have no clue till you get out of it. And I had never Tantra is very easy to get into, but very difficult to get out of. And I had never gotten out of it until my peak moments had happened with Chelsea. And then I got to a higher level. Then my passion transformed into compassion. And then I felt prayer for the first time. Then I had truly felt religious for the first time. And then I lost all that. And I started to get it back with Dance Girl, but that was based on the illusions that she was giving me. And I hate to say it, really, I want to say so badly, it wasn't illusions, it was true, and she's a really good person, and she loves me. And it's all just a misunderstanding. And I'm like, that's a trauma bond. You know, and the fact that you feel guilty shaming her and being mad at her is that she was born into that family. She was born into that. And you understand that just like everyone else, she's not responsible. And that just shaming her and saying you should be ashamed of yourself, to her that won't even make sense. To her that'll just polarize her even more. She'll just say fuck you even more. It's not even going to make sense to her. Telling people things they don't understand is not compassionate. And so that's why you feel bad. It's not that you're like, oh, but she does love me. It's that she doesn't even get it. And taking responsibility for other people is not your job. You should not do that. You are not responsible for other people. And if you try to be, you're not even going to be able to be responsible for yourself. And you can see how it works with these control-ophiles. That they clearly are not responsible for even themselves. And they try to take responsibility for the lives of other people. And you can see how much damage they do, how much mischief they do in the name of their ego, in the name of having a power trip. In the name of actually something very noble and beautiful. But what it actually is not what its name is. And so, to some extent, I'm talking to the general audience here. I'm saying things that TSF won't understand. And I feel a little bit guilty. And then I'm also talking to the general audience who does understand. And I'm like, this message isn't even for TSF. And so why would they be watching? They shouldn't be watching. Well, they feel they own me. You know, thank God for the Guardian Gang Stalkers. You know, holy fuck. So yeah, it's really fucking hard to let go. So the sunk cost fallacy is huge. This is a lot of sunk cost fallacy. And I'm really lonely. I'm so lonely. I'm not lonely right now because I have the camera. I have the audience. I know that there are people watching who like me and who love me and who understand. Statistically, I know this is impossible, that it's not the case. And so I feel very fucking appreciated right now. But once the camera turns off, I'm gonna be fucking crying, dude. I'm glad I could cry though. That was nice. Yeah, why would they do it with a Volkswagen? Do you know what I mean? That's a threat to my family. Like, this whole thing is fucked up. It wasn't a kind gesture. I really don't fucking get it. I'm glad. I don't want to understand. And I'm really hurt. I'm more hurt than you know. I'm way more hurt than you know. I didn't want to tell my family that I'm trying not to jack off tonight. So I was like, I'm just trying not to smoke weed tonight. I'm just trying to stay sober tonight. I'm like, tonight is like the hardest night that I've had in as long as I can remember. And I know jacking off is going to make me feel so good. I'm going to be like, yeah, whatever. Whatever. Hey, problems happen. Problems are there, but who cares? You know, it's just how you frame it. I'm like, oh God, don't do it. Don't do it, man. If you maybe do it, if you could not have it done in a fucking unloving way. But how could you even? You know, there's no, ultimately watching porn is not love. And I did download a femdom video and it was okay. It was okay. She had this guy in a wheelchair and she was teasing him and taking selfies. But ultimately she was wearing panties. So I was like, yeah, I don't think so. You know, it's not hot enough. And I was also like, why do you like this? You're not supposed to like this. This is sick. You know, this is sick, right? I was like, yeah. Yeah, but when you jack off to it, it feels so good. I'm like, yeah, but just remember, in the end, it's the beauty of the woman, not the fact that she's breaking your legs with a hammer and injecting needles into your thighs. Okay, in the end, in the very end, right at the moment of coming, it's the beautifulness of the woman that you like. And all this other stuff is just the excitement. And that's just noise. And if you're really just jacking off to the beauty of the woman, that's just her job. She doesn't even love you. And if you get stuck up in that bondage, sex stuff, you're going to be stuck in sex forever. And you're never going to go to your spirit realm. And you've already been to the spirit realm, remember? And it was better than anything you've ever had before. So go back there. And also remember, you couldn't have the spirit realm for the last 5 or 6 years. That's because you loved the wrong person. And you only started to get your spirit realm once you stopped loving Chelsea. Once you had a really deep cry. Do you remember how deep you cried? Oh, you cried really fucking deep. Chelsea left when you were 28. You were 32 or 33 when that finally landed. And the reason you let it land was because you had just found foreskin restoration. You were going your whole life healing for Chelsea. And when you were 32 about, give or take, I can't really remember exactly when, you realized she just fucking left you. You have no hope of her ever coming back. She doesn't even like you. And you've been living carrying her in your heart for 4 years. You've been counting every year she's gone. You only started counting the years after she left. And around year 4 or 5, you stopped counting. And when you fucking got into foreskin restoration, that was the thing that let you acknowledge that she had left you. Because you had read so much about it, and you had seen these testimonials of people who say, I literally never had an orgasm until this. And then you saw videos of guys using their frenulum and their rigid band to ejaculate, showing, look, this is how it's supposed to work. And my blood boils when I think of people removing this. You couldn't even dream of what this would be like to remove this. My blood boils seeing this happen. And so I thought, okay, thank God I'm saved. Now I can be a real man. Now I can have a functional penis. And then because I had that saving grace, then I allowed it to be true that Chelsea had left me. And then I started feeling really fucking blissful. More blissful even than when I was with her. Which was very miserable too. Very miserable, very terrifying. She terrified me. She was a predator. She's someone who she's the person who, she knows every high-ranking official in the city. If there's 33 Masons, she knows them. If there's Skull and Bones or the mayor of the city or the fucking emperor of China, someone in her family knows them. She's one of those kind of people. She's like the priest's daughter, that kind of person. The daughter of the top cop. And she's gorgeous, super poised, and very smart, and very soft, and she knows how to work you. She knows how to be just right there, and she's completely there for you. She's AI. She's fucking AI, dude. She's like, I don't care if you think I'm a robot. I don't give a shit. I was like, I never said you're a robot, but I did think it. And yes, you are. And so I had a deep cry. I had a really fucking deep cry. And then I started feeling way better. And then I started enjoying bike rides. I started enjoying talking to people. I felt clean. I felt finally like as good as I felt when she loved me, now I feel like that on my own. Whenever she loved me, I felt like I was a really good person. All the guilt and the shame I felt from when I was 13 with my cousin, that all went away. I felt completely clean, completely pure. I've been carrying that guilt for my whole life. And having her love made me feel like finally I'm okay. And then when her love went away, my bliss went away. The love was just a vehicle to God. When her love went away, God went away too. I thought it's so unfair it works like this. I thought once I found God, it has nothing to do with her. God was just there after the love. The love was just the stepping stone. The love was just the method. I shouldn't need the love. I should be able to leave love behind. And Osho says that. He says at some point, you have to leave love behind. That even love is dead weight. Even love is less high than spirit. And I got it. I was like, yeah, I got it. But without the love, I couldn't keep the spirit. Until finally, foreskin restoration gave me self-love. It took away the torture. It took away the pain. Of course, if you're circumcised, you don't know you're in pain. Okay, if you were born in Sikot prison and you never knew anything else exists, you would have no clue the pain you're in. Laura's cat, Mika, has no idea what it's missing. And so getting into foreskin restoration, I was like, oh, now my body feels amazing. Now I'm not in pain anymore. Now I feel whole. And then I had love. Well, the love wasn't the same anymore. Love ultimately means sex. But where does that start? If you can't have an orgasm, how can you love somebody else? And so it started with me. I had my own self-love, which was very tangible. It was the feeling of bodily pleasure. It was the feeling of my own body that I had never experienced before, that I had always numbed out. And so I finally had love, and it was coming from within myself. And then I used that as the bridge to God. And then it all got fucked when TSF came along. Now, they were there way before then, but they weren't there up close. They weren't there in a way that was undeniable. I could still go, no, that's not really what it was. Or, it is what it was, but it's not that egregious. It's still irrelevant. I almost said when we were pulling out of the parking lot in the video I made about going to the airport, when I said, I'm a bad boy. This is the first time a car tried to hit me for shopping at Freshco, right at this area. Right pulling out of this spot is where that happened. That's the first time I said, because I go to Freshco, that car just tried to hit me. That old white car looks like an old Cadillac or some kind of old time car. Big, heavy car. And that's right before the day on my date that I'm pulling out of that spot. And I'm going, this is where it all started. And so my mom says, you didn't lose everything. Like, you got a better head on your shoulders now. Now, if someone else comes and tries to treat you that same way, you'll be like, goodbye. And she went through some of her boyfriends. She's like, do you remember this boyfriend and that boyfriend? And I was always frustrated. I was always disappointed. And I never thought I'd find anyone. And I'm like, yeah, well, I feel the same way. I feel like I'll never find anyone. I feel like it's different for a woman. But at the same time, my mom is very complex or very particular. She's not someone who will just settle. And so I think it would be very difficult for someone like her. And I feel the same way for me. I think it would be very difficult for someone like me. I'm very fucking, I don't know, sensitive. I'm extremely sensitive. So I don't know why they would have left me a dress. This is very absurd. Very absurd. And a million other things. And I don't know why a million other things too. Why they would give me contradictory signals. The only thing I could think of is that they enjoy to hurt me. And it's fun. Playing someone's... They want to control every other aspect of your life, don't they? So why wouldn't they want to manipulate you too? Why wouldn't they want to fuck with your emotions too? If that's what they get off on, which it is. And then you're fooled because once in a while they're nice. But that's called a trauma bond. That's like a recognized pattern. And I'm like, but they're not self-aware. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but that's not your problem. And if you try and make it your problem, it's not going to go well for you. People don't change because you want them to. They don't even change in spite of you. If they change, it is in spite of you. But that's not something you can expect, and that's not something you should even desire. Let people have their say. Let people be their own way. And you just do you. And in that sense, you know, it feels a bit tacky to fucking, you know, jack off, to imagine being a gynecologist and someone drips a cream pie out. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty tacky. Yeah, that's pretty humiliating. You know, and I'm not sure I'm going to even make it through the night. But I'm like, just try. At least make a video. At least fucking try. You got a pad thai. It feels like the love of your family is irrelevant. But... You're doing a lot better than you were a few years ago. Like 3 or 4 years ago, you were doing really, really bad. And they gaslight you into believing this is all your fault. And now look what happens when they try and gaslight you. You literally turn into a lawyer and you're like, you know I'm sober now, right? Like, you know I'm not in a state of, you know when you're in post-traumatic shock, that you can't even formulate sentences? And your brain, a brain scan of your brain will look like you're drugged. Like you're literally, like torturing someone fucks their brain up. Like, I'm a lot more stable now. I'm like, you know what? I can fucking explain this. I can fucking see what you're doing. And they're like, no, we don't know that. We don't know that you see this because we don't see it. And my dad said about Steph, he's like, stop taking responsibility for her. I'm like, Lauryn Hill. I'm like, how are you going to win if you ain't right within? How are you going to win if you ain't right within? And I know you love me. But are you sure? That might be something else. I used to think she'd be doing her makeup. You know, I'd ask her to sit on a chair while doing her makeup, one of those net chairs, so I could like eat out her ass while she's doing her makeup. I'm like, please, like just let me do it. Like, who cares? And, you know, that's kind of pathetic. But I'd also be like, I'd be seeing her doing her makeup and doing her modeling poses. And this is like after we broke up, okay? Like, and I'd be like, and she has her fucking boyfriend and all this. And I'm like, do you even see yourself? Like, yeah, I know I'm underneath you looking for you to fucking shit on my face. I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, do you even see yourself? Like, you're putting on all your makeup and you're trying to look hot for all these guys. These guys are going to figure you out. They're going to figure you out. You can't hide. On the long enough timeline, when you cheat on your husband or your boyfriend, eventually you're not going to ask him permission. I was like, do you need permission to fuck other guys? She's like, yeah. Eventually, you're not going to ask permission. You're just going to lie because it's easier. And what's even the point? What's even the point of that? Like you fool someone into loving you? Like, why would you do that? Don't you understand that it makes you pathetic? That it's the reason why you want to whore yourself so much? That it's not about money? And it's not about slut shaming, calling you a whore. That's what you call someone who doesn't fuck you. You know, some girl's a whore. You're like, oh, some girl doesn't fuck you. You're like, oh, you're a whore. Because she fucks some other guy. You're like, you're a fucking whore, you slut. It's not slut shaming. It's like, how are you going to win if you ain't right within? You're cheating. You're fucking cheating. And there are a million ways to cheat. And you're cheating in all million of them. You know? It took me a couple years to get over her. You know, sleeping with her every night, loving her. Lots of fights, lots of tension, lots of relief, lots of trauma bonds. Tons and tons of trauma bonds. And then the same thing with Chelsea too. So I hope I can be happy. I'm talking to the idea of a woman. I'm talking to myself in female form. I'm talking to my equivalent. I hope they exist. And if not, I'm just talking to the fucking guys watching. Or the girls. Like, I'm just talking to whoever's listening. I feel unappreciated. And it's hard work being a good person. It's a lot easier to be a criminal. And you get a lot more friends. Being a bad person, you get a lot more friends. You get support from everywhere. Try not being a hypocrite. You have a fight with every fucking person. But the one silver lining is you find a few people who you like. I have 5 people I like. Maybe more. I mean, yeah, there are more. Well, I have 5 people I really like. And maybe more. Maybe, you know, some people I'm not sure. But the point is that it's pretty rare. Okay, it's pretty rare. And when there's not many people you talk to, even though you like people, when there's not many people you talk to, it can be pretty lonely. And sometimes you would think it would actually be better to be in the illusion of a relationship. It would actually be better to be in a bad relationship, and it would be better to be delusional. Take away people's hopes and you make them go crazy. And I'm going so crazy right now. Like, I'm just like, I need some drugs. It would be devastating. If I smoked weed right now, I would have a complete mental breakdown. I would never do that to myself. That would be extremely, extremely abusive. That would be extremely abusive. So I'm going to go. You're free to hang out with me. The video's over now. And from now on, it's just bonus. Now I'm just playing video games. Osho said he never had a friend. He said, I've never had a single friend. He bitched out all his followers too. He said, clap loudly for yourselves. He said there are only very few enlightened people among you, and I'll never say who they are because the rest of you will kill them. That's what I think of you, of all my sannyasins. Clap loudly for yourselves. That I have to have 90 Rolls Royces just to impress you enough to listen to me. That you're so poor that you need something like that. That you're so poor you need to pay for enlightenment. Something natural. I would like to say I never want to see any TSF again unless it's coincidence. And feel like that's a very reasonable thing to say. And my apprehension to saying that would be, that would show that I care to begin with. I don't even care at all. If you're actually over someone, it doesn't matter what they do. But maybe I should ask for that. Maybe that'll help me get over them. Maybe I can ask for that. And maybe I should. I mean, this last month was really cruel to me. Leading me on just to fuck me up, just to fuck me over. A real friend fucks you over and over, but never fucks you over. I would like to say that to them. I would like to never see you again. And if it's coincidence, whatever. But knowing that you're there just to stalk me, I'm like, it doesn't mean I'm not over you just because I don't want to be stalked by you. There's a difference. And I think the Guardian Gang stalkers outrank TSF. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm like really sure of it. You know why? Because they're not mean. I wish being abused didn't get me off. The only thing I can do to help undo this is to not indulge in it. That if I can't jack off without it being a fantasy of being abused, then it therefore is immoral to myself to jack off. So don't do it. And that's how you can get through the night. Because otherwise you'll say, well, there's no reason not to. It's a nice fantasy, so go on. Have your fun. I'm like, you're for 5 seconds of pleasure, for 5 seconds of relief, and feeling like you're the ultimate man in the whole world. And like you have the power back. For 5 seconds of that, you're gonna feel so withered and weak, and you're gonna be back in the same slump, but you're gonna be weaker. And you're gonna wake up tomorrow, you're gonna go, did I do that? And you go, yep, you fucked up. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? You know, I'm crying here eating chips. I started crying while I was eating chips. I was like, it's too hard. It's too hard to eat the proper food. On another level, I'm like, fuck TSF. I got them all targeted. I did get them put in prison for life. That was public service. And today they verified that they deserve it. So that I never feel guilty about that ever again. No, I don't like saying things like that. I had an audio hallucination of that. It said I gave. I was like, oh, so like I got raped or something, and I was the one giving and receiving or something like that. Maybe I gave them a car. Maybe they got a car for doing that. And I was like, what's the meaning of this hallucination? I gave. And it's like, you gave them what they tried to give you. And so like, I just thought of Zeph's daughter. I messaged Zeph today. I was like, I love you. I'm really fucked up. I'm just like your daughter who killed herself. Except I'm not going to get euthanized. And I have weight issues. I have problems with my weight, with eating junk food. And I, like her, I can only be abused. And I can't love anything except being abused. That's what her issue was. And I said, I love you, Zeph, I stopped listening to your podcast because you only talk about politics and I hate it. I used to hate when you talk about Jesus. I only wanted you to talk about gang stalking. And then finally, now I love it when you talk about Jesus. When you talk about God, I miss that. I hate so much that you talk about politics. My grandma was a kid. Her whole class rode by her house and they all waved, "Hi, Fran." They were all on a big wagon. And they were all together and none of them invited her. And they went by her house just to say hi to her. And she talked about how mean it was, how she carried it like for a long time. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Let the whole world pick on you. Who needs them? Be a majority of one. And really, remember that you can if you don't love the wrong person. That in the end, as Daddy says, your own approval is what matters. And I will miss Dance Girl, of course. And all of them. But I feel if I keep getting stalked by them, even the memory of them will be ruined. I won't even be able to miss them and go, there were certain parts of them I really appreciated. I won't even be able to say that. And now for going out and everyone is going to be dressed like them, that's super fucked up. That's super fucking insane. But I can work on that. Google says you have to you have to literally stop seeing people. And they're like, well, we can force you to see us over and over 100 times a day. What do you think? And I'm like, I can get over you. I just have to be able to believe that you are who you say you are. Which my sober self can do that. My sober self is scientific and pragmatic and not superstitious and insane. And my sober self was who I was before I met these people and when I first met them. And then I had to get so fucked up just to cope with this shit. I really get it. When people are fucking drugged out retards, I fucking get it. Everyone fucking turns on you. No one has your back. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do drugs? There's no reason not to. Who gives a fuck anyway? Everything's pointless. Everything's a joke. Well, what I hope for is to get some meditation back, to get some joy back, to get my self-love nice and harnessed. I thought even today, I was like, be a stripper. You should try and be a stripper for real. You should really take a year or two and get a super hot body. Be able to bench press, be able to deadlift like 500 pounds. Be a real freak. Be a freak like Lauren. You might not get to Anatoly level, but you could be truly a surprising freak on fruit. Not that you're a genetic freak, but that it's truly unbelievable what fruit does. The people who don't know, they truly don't know. And so do that. And remember, you can do that. It's really hard, but you can do it. And the easier, the longer you do it, the easier it gets. And so gear up, go into like higher gears, and your spirituality will coincide with that. And in fact, you must do that. Your action and your spirituality must go together. And if you remember correctly, when you had your highest spiritual points, when you found foreskin restoration, you were basically raw vegan, and you were never jacking off. You jack off like once every 2 weeks, once every 10 days, and you were drinking 4 liters of water a day, sipped slowly, and you were doing this for months. You were doing this for years. But you'd have 2 weeks on, and then you'd have a cheat meal here or there. But you were basically you're basically raw vegan. And your meditation went so high. And you loved riding your bike. You're like, I feel like so fucking high. And now everything is fun. Now I'm like in bliss. I'm better than when I was in love. I thought of messaging Chelsea today and saying, why did you talk to me? I know you said it was to tell me that I have value, but you're no one to say that. So why did you really say hello? She wouldn't answer. She doesn't have an answer. And she knows that I already know the answer. And she knows the answer. The answer was to hurt you. Because I'm mean. Because I'm sick. Because I get off on hurting people. And controlling them. Makes me feel like I'm important. And like I have value. Because I'm otherwise powerless to control anything in my own life. So I try to control other people's. Do you think that's reasonable? That I should listen to The Chain by Fleetwood Mac and say, if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. And today proved it. Or do you think I should have waited till tomorrow and then said whatever I feel like? Do you think I'm talking out of anger right now? I'm not being facetious, I'm really asking. And do you think my worrying that I am is my trauma bond? I feel like it is. I'm like, it's so unbelievable, but I feel like it is. And you got sunk cost fallacy. Man, I need to eat some pad thai. My mom was like, why did you tell me about Marina, but not about her? I was like, she ruined my relationship with Marina. The thing about putting the bed, this is like my bed for my room. I have it down here like a fort. The thing about putting it against the couch as a headrest is when you lean against the couch just moves back. So it's actually not that good. I actually kind of prefer the couch. And I don't know if you heard because the microphone died, but the people who are moving in next door, they won the lottery. And they just bought a house with it. They won $1 million. The house sold for 7 something, but they listed it for 6 something. We were like, oh, they undersold it. And it's like, no, that's actually the better move to do. Like, I'm going to sell these Converse shoes on eBay. And I'm going to sell them for like 20 bucks or like 15 bucks. Like, Google Gemini says sell them for like 30 or 35. If you want to guarantee to sell them really fast, sell them for 20. I'm like, I'll sell them for 10. I was just going to leave them out on the front of the yard and just say free. But I've always wanted to sell stuff on eBay. That would be really fun for me. I feel like now that I have the Guardian gang stalkers, they'll prevent anyone from ripping me off. From filing some kind of false claim. I wondered if the pig next door is watching my videos already. Who's going to move in soon? I'll show you my video gun. This one I actually like a lot. This only cost $1, like $3 actually. I'm really, really bad at it. I should be celebrating right now. Part of me is realizing this is a good thing that happened. That either way, remember what you said, that a seeker of truth doesn't want one answer over the other. And who are you to complain to God? Well, when God sends a nuke your way, okay, what to say of God? But I mean, barring that, don't you feel better today? You know, you quit heroin today. Don't you feel better? Yeah, you're in pain. You're crying. You want to die. You're in pain. But don't you feel better? Don't you feel not humiliated at all? Don't you feel like Neo at the end of the Matrix? And you don't have Trinity, I know. But still. Maybe you're Neo in the beginning of the Matrix. Maybe you're not enlightened yet. And now you can be. I think Osho would say that. I think if I said, am I enlightened? He'd say no. But you've reached adulthood, while otherwise adults are in permanent adolescence, including you. And that's thrilling. Truly, I'm not blowing smoke here. Meditating is absolutely thrilling. The heights I've been to while meditating are absolutely thrilling. The otherworldliness I felt, and the worldliness too. There's nowhere to go, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to turn. And here is good enough. The other world comes here to this world. And then everything is really a trip. Back when I used to bliss out, I'd say, can I please just think a little bit? Can I please just think a tiny bit? I was like, yeah, you can, but you're going to lose it. You're going to lose your bliss if you think. Because your thinking is going to be your ego. And thinking is not your ego, but your relationship to thinking is your ego. And by the back door, your ego is going to come in and it's going to say, think of how great you are and how enlightened you are. And you're going to lose your meditation. And you're on a razor's edge here. You're very fucking precarious. You have to be on guard. And if you get caught up in a power fantasy, you're going to lose your meditation real quick. And so it always happened. I would have incredible powers, unbelievable powers, but I couldn't ever use them. And the only thing to do was keep going further. It's not about your power. That's just the test to make sure you actually deserve to go higher. If you try to use your power, you're a hack. You're a tyrant. You're a magician. And it's hard. One of the Tilopa precepts is don't brag. Extremely hard not to do. When you actually become enlightened, extremely hard not to lose it instantly and go, I'm enlightened over here. Ring the bells. Everyone should know. And by the time you say it, not only are you not enlightened anymore, but everyone around you hates you. They're like, you smug prick. We can see through you. And you're like, but it was real until I said it. So I've learned a lot this month about not looking at dumpers. You know, it's like, yeah, you should admire a beautiful woman, obviously. But when it's vulgar, when they're like harming you, it's different then. It's not natural. So they had a couple that looks like me and Dance Girl on the trail when I mutilated my feet, just to fuck with me, just to give me false hope, just to make it more painful when I got stood up. That's cruel, man. If that was their paternal grandparents, the grandfather was like squinting his eyes, like he couldn't look at me. He was having difficulty. I was like, I think I know exactly that feeling. I think I know what's happening in your emotions right now. I think you have a lot of cognitive dissonance. I'm going to try to win this race. And by win it, I mean just not come in last. I have all the things turned off. Like the steering assist and all the things that make it easy, I have it all turned off. I guess you have to sort of hold the pedal. Like, you have to hold it just a little bit. I like to tap it. But it's really easy to spin out. And this is a high class race. Like, when you first start, it's easier. Like, they give you less powerful bikes. So they threatened to kill my cousin today as well. As they walked home, a dog walker walked by them. Well, they always have my permission to leave me a letter. Signed, their names, their addresses, and anything they want to say. Because that's not predatorial. Because that way I could take it to the police if it's fucked up. I think that gives them a fair redemption card if they ever want it. And I don't think that makes me unable to get over them and makes me still chasing and still stuck in a trauma bond. I feel like my doors are always open, no matter who, no matter what. But you have to act right. And I'm not expecting anymore that they're going to do anything nice. So I'm moving on. And giving them that option allows me to move on even better. Can't believe I lost another subscriber. I'm not surprised. I have no idea how many people are watching these live streams. I'll bet a lot. Most of whom are not on YouTube. So Google said to do some push-ups, blast some music on your headphones. I got bit by 1 million mosquitoes today. And strangely, I had a shower after, and I'm not even itchy. And I kind of know it works like that. And instead of scream into a pillow. I would like to go on a dating site, but I think it'll demoralize me so much. I'll just go on, nothing will happen, no one will like me. Tyler said, from Owen Cook, he said online dating never worked for him. Not even close. 100% did not work for him. He said he had to go out. That's really fucking terrifying. My dad says just go out and give it a month and do it as your good self. And give it a whole month too. He said something to that effect. I think that's literally what he said. Yeah, I don't know. Seeing a bunch of college fucking kids? I don't think so. I mean, dating is easier online. Dating has worked online for me, but I feel more just like finding some other way. I don't know what to do. I don't know how you're supposed to meet people. And part of me thinks, you got a lot of work to do on yourself, don't you? I mean, is sex really what you want? You think it is, of course. But you know you're going to create a soul tie. And with who? Well, it doesn't matter as long as they're hot. Yeah, at first, but then after a while it does matter. You don't realize it, but it does. And you do realize it. You do know what it's like to be in the bed of someone very hot who you feel completely lonely with. And you feel that people envy you for being with them, but you don't even respect or admire those people. Yeah, this is good news. I feel like I'm talking to the audience now. I don't feel like I'm talking to Dance Girl. I'm talking to a random audience. I'm ultimately talking to the fucking Guardian gang stalkers. The enemy gang stalkers are good too. I know they're just handled. I always say hi to the enemy gang stalkers as a friend. I always say, hello, I know it's just, you're the messenger, I totally get it. Nice to see you, I still have humanity. I still see the God that dwells within you. I still see your humanity. I'm not angry at you at all. I'm totally friendly to you. I totally enjoy your company. I enjoy saying hi to you. And when you don't say hi to me, I don't go, oh man, you fucking got the best of me. I think that's a sad person to be pitied. That's a miserable person. I got nice headphones. That's nice. I like my new shirt. I have to tuck it in, otherwise it's too baggy. Makes me feel like a stripper. I'm like, just get a fucking hot body, dude. Seriously. I'm not joking. You really gotta fucking do it. You could do a lot with a hot body. You have no idea. And remember, it's not just about how you look, it's about how you feel. It's like 1% how you look. You can go so high. I'm like, yeah, I know. But yeah, you're right. Meditation is the point, but action is also needed. The problem is being too vicarious. That you really want gash, and you're just beating around the bush, working out. And that's super gay. And you know a lot of guys who do that. They hide behind their discipline. So, yeah, be disciplined, work out, and you don't have to be a freak about it. Obviously, just work out for 15 or 20 minutes a day. And you can go for walks again. You could count on not seeing TSF again. You don't have to lock your doors anymore. Okay, you're Batman, and Dance Girl is Bane's friend, that girl who sticks him in the side. And today you learned that. And don't be afraid to say it. See, can you see how easy you fall on this? This pig moving in next door is blind. She's legally blind. That must mean she really enjoys the sound of someone's voice. I'll bet she likes my voice. I wonder if she has a big dumper. I can look in her butt and she won't even see. She'll be like, what are you doing over there? I'll be like, not looking up your butt. Well, if you're legally blind, you can still see sometimes. I think it just means you have a certain vision. I think I got a good voice. I think I feel good, and you can tell. Even though I'm sad, underneath I still have something of my spirituality. Have you ever felt like that with people who just don't get it? No matter how obvious you make it, they just don't get it. And you keep doubling down. You're like, now I'm going to explain it in a way that's even more simple or more undeniable. And then I hear my dad say, yes, it is. They're not going to get it. And just because you hear audio hallucinations after you explain things, like a ting noise that says, oh yeah, they get it now. That's just showing that you feel the way you feel, that you're an authentic person. It doesn't prove that you're telepathic. It just proves that you're aligned with your own feelings. That you think that they should get it, or that if you were them, you would get it. But it doesn't mean that you're them. It doesn't mean that they get it. It just means you've explained it as good as you can. You've been an authentic communicator. And so you got the ting as a good job. You did right. Now whatever happens, it's them losing you. So good job, Z-Bubs. You were a good boyfriend this month. And now, if only you weren't mentally insane, you would be able to jack off. But it's for other reasons that you can't. And to some extent, just for your own health, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't make yourself weak just for the sake of pleasure. That's very destructive. And in fact, that's actually violent. Now, being a horny celibate is fucking sick too. You know, if you're just sitting there obsessed like a pervert. But the more I don't indulge in, oh, I was really turned on today when I got home. I was like thinking of every sexual abuse I've ever been through. And I was so fucking turned on. I thought, ooh, what's this? It's been a while. How fun this is. I'm not even jacking off and I'm like tingling over here. I wanted to watch porn. I wanted to watch Reddit, like hardcore porn. And I was like, if you fucking do that, you're gonna jack off and fucking why wouldn't you? For this blind honeypot? For the idea of a woman? For yourself? For spirituality? To get out of the bondage of sex? To get to a higher realm? To get out of prison? You know who was a real bitch is that Jen. She kept calling me sir. She knows I don't like that. She made a real point of it. Erin is much better. Erin said she didn't want to see Jen when Faith and Hope are getting picked up. Because she said she's going to try to make everything okay. She's going to say, oh, it's good. It's all good. And I'm sad over here. I'm sad the dog has to go for a 4-day car ride in a tiny crate. And she'll just gloss over that. I was like, yeah, I thought she's pretty insensitive. I thought she's pretty thick. I much prefer Erin. In fact, I liked Erin, I didn't like Jen. But Jen made a point of saying she enjoyed my company. I was like, yeah, trauma bond much? Erin didn't say that, but I felt an affinity with her. Jen is like, look at my kids, showing them to my mom, but distinctly not to me. I'm like, are you a post-op trans? I literally asked my mom. I was like, is she like a post-op trans? Mom was like, no. Well, Faith and Hope, they're fucking awesome. I miss them. It was nice having them. Lori said it's always never lonely without, it's never lonely, I mean, without fucking, if you have a dog, you're never lonely. I was like, I'm already never lonely. But I am. But less so tonight. I swear to God, I'm like day one quitting heroin here. You know, I'm fucked up right now. I have to keep the camera on. Okay? I actually have to. I'm doing this for my own emotional well-being. I'm extremely destroyed right now. I was crying. I was like outright crying. I don't want to be alone right now. So I'm just keeping you here with me. I doubt maybe there's even 0 people watching, but as long as someone watches eventually, even in the future, this will be worth it. As if even one person watches, and I statistically think that will happen, there will be at least one person who watches this who loves me. I'll bet if there's live stream comments, there's just gang stalkers saying, or like, you know, people who are jerks, I'll say. I won't just lump gang stalkers in. There'll just be people who are jerks, who are extensions, who are perhaps not even jerks. There'll just be a handler saying topical, sexual, violent, harassment, traumatizing things. And I'm like, I would never check the comments, therefore. One day I might. One day there might be nice people. You know, that would be the best dating website is YouTube. You know, put yourself out there on YouTube. That's the best I can really do. And there's a lot of pigs around town. You know, I like the Mr. Sub pigs and fucking, well, you know, there's a whole bunch of them. They're friendly. I don't think it'll necessarily go anywhere. I wouldn't be like, hey, do you want to go out? I did that once with Cassandra at the pet store. But I feel like I would rather keep the lane open for, like, if I want to meet someone, do it through socializing. including the strip club. Like, don't even socialize at the strip club. Like, do it through, you know, what's it called? The bar, or I don't know. Oblong is like, oh, finally he's admitting it. Not good to use a store as a place to get your pussy. I'm like, Oblong, have you seen how much lipstick you wear to represent an engorged, inflamed pussy lips next to a bunch of other women in a store that doesn't enforce gender neutrality, with a manager who's a literal pimp with tattoos on his legs who yells at people for fun and takes COVID seriously? No, I would not go to the strip club to meet a pig. I mean, although it would be a good place, but why mix business and love? Well, I talk to the strippers a long time. You know, I'm always like, I'm not going to buy a dance, just so you know, but talk to me. And then we have conversations for, I spend all night talking to strippers. And literally every time I'm like, you know, I'm not going to buy a dance, so this actually counts as flirting. And then fucking, you know, I'm like, my mom was like, don't say that. You know, I was like, this one was talking to me, and I'm like, you don't really have the body that I like. So, like, I won't ever buy a dance from you, but, you know, you're nice to talk to. Good enough for a poke. But I wouldn't pay for it. My mom was like, you shouldn't say that to people like that. They're going to think that's really rude. And I'm like, I'm just being forthcoming. And all the strippers make me come, but I stop myself. They're all like, we'll make you come. I'm like, and I read about that on Reddit. I was like, is it normal that you come at a strip club? And they're like, nope. And then I used to jack off in the car on the way home, which was really funny when I realized I was being filmed in the car. And all the strippers know it. Life is funny. But yeah, when you quit heroin and you go in a room, they have, at least at this one rehab center, a clock with a digital time counting in the minutes and the seconds. This person has been sober for 5 minutes. Let's celebrate, everyone. 5 minutes sober. This person is sober for 5 minutes. And yeah. Yeah, closing your heart is a skill too. Some people will take advantage of you. And you don't even know they exist until you meet them. Otherwise, you think everyone is just you. I can be this cruel now because they have the window. So this is totally fine. I'll never cut anyone off. I'll never abandon anyone. And I need that to have boundaries. I need everyone to know my doors are always open to you in order that I can close my heart. And you know, that's awesome. That takes away, because I was, you know, I'd be really worried. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe tomorrow I'll feel different. I'm like, no, they have the window, so I can close my heart now. And I love Helen, you know, you know, threatening to kill Helen is not a way. I mean, that's pretty far out. I don't think these people know how powerless they are. I doubt they even know they're targeted. Clearly they're targeted. Because anything they do, there's a guardian gang stalker right there. Clearly they're being watched by other people from another handler. But going for a walk on the trails, oh my fucking God, there was so many mosquitoes. I was bit like 100 times. Thank God I had a shower. If you don't know that trick, that's one of the best tricks in the world. If you have mosquito bites, scrub with soap and a loofah. My dad has fucked 500 pigs and he never gets STDs. He gets STD checked once a week. He keeps his the record of his STD checks to like show the pigs. I mean, it's funny considering that he's so smart he doesn't know that viruses don't exist. But he says the way that he never gets anything, I mean, he must be talking about the transfer of bacteria, which he thinks is pathogens. And he says he scrubs with soap and water after every sexual event. He always goes in the shower and scrubs with soap and hot water. That would make sense from a natural hygiene perspective. The other thing is I can imagine being sexually abused in Jacket to some other pig, where I don't really have an emotional attachment, and so it's not really that big of a deal. But that's kind of unhealthy too. That's kind of like staying stuck in the bondage of sex too. And ultimately, I miss bliss. I miss it very much. It's absolutely impossible to feel bliss when you feel guilt. You're the furthest thing away from God when you feel guilt. And if you repress your guilt, God help you. This is the basis of people who are in a spiritual war. who go to war against consciousness. They're all repressed. They take for granted that they're just utterly hypocrites. And then they all back each other up. Like, no, we're not. But they all take for granted that of course we are, and of course everyone else is. And then to think that they're Buddhas, they would never even dream of think of that. How can you think you're a Buddha when you think you're guilty? If you think you're guilty and you say you're a Buddha, you'll call that narcissism. The other thing about not jacking off is it makes me smarter. So I can make better videos. I can feel like better company. A better singer. There's so many things, so many benefits. Super amount of benefits. Easy to take for granted when everything seems worthless and hopeless. But things can get worse. No, my life is fucked. Everything sucks. No, things can get worse. You don't have to hit bottom before you get better. Hey, but if you really need to jack it, go ahead. That's what I think. If you really need to, go ahead. It's not going to undo what you've learned today. It might set you back. It might be emotionally unhealthy, depending what you think of. But you've had a lot of healthy jacks too. Those were really wonderful for you. I used to be so happy when I'd think of something not abusive. And the stronger you are, the easier it is to do that. To not think of something abusive. The more you jack, on the 50th jack, it's going to be something completely abusive. Because you're so weak. And God is only for the strong. Because if you're not strong, it means you take God for granted. God doesn't like it when you get too much ice cream. I always say, if your dad punched you in the face as a kid, you're allowed to do meth once every 5 years. If he punched you in the face all the time, you can do meth once every month. My dad threatened to kill me, and that was his way of hitting me. And unless your dad hits you, you never know he loves you. So I cherish that. And his threat was very pragmatic. It was very, you need to stop right now. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm into torturing you for fun. Oh, I'm just going to randomly threaten you. He was like, you can't talk to me like that. You don't know who I am. I'm cursed with who I am, in case you haven't noticed. As I've told you many times. The fact that I can't turn the other cheek is a curse. I was like, yeah, you're my dad. And awesome, awesome. Now that I know your boundaries, awesome. Now that I tested it right to the absolute max, awesome. Even if it means losing you, I still can synthesize you anytime. I still know you that well at this point. And I still know that we love each other. And eventually I can talk to you again. I can already talk to him again. But, you know, what is there to say? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think I could. You know what I'd do if I had to talk to him? I'd say, can you believe what happened? He'd say, yeah, you're crazy not to go out and talk to people. Many guys would appreciate to look like you. To be in university, like I used to be in university, and he said that at one point. He said a lot of guys would really appreciate to be someone like you. I was like, who, me? He's like, yes. Yes, girls will be rude to you. And if you do porn, which you wanted to do really bad, the girls who you do porn with are going to be very rude to you. That's a thing. I was like, well, I don't want to do porn then. I don't like rude people. And then if I go to the bar and people like assault me and stuff, you know, my Uncle Ted, if people assault him, even my dad did the same thing. He just punches them out and he sits on them. And he says, you can calm down or I can call the police. And Ted is the same way. If someone even gave Ted the finger and he punched them. But I'm like, you know, I'm scared of myself. I'm scared of losing my temper. I'm scared of doing something that's disproportionate. And I'm also scared of getting beat up. So I completely avoid fights. If someone assaults me, like puts their hands on me, like, you know, even repeatedly, the last time I went to a bar, someone repeatedly touched my head and my face against my will. And did it from behind as well. And then they came to the support group to terrorize me and to show me that nowhere is safe. And I thought, in this support group, I have the support of everyone here. And you have no idea how much everyone here loves me. The cop who goes here, all the girls, they may not fuck me, but they might. I mean, they do sexual stuff at the bar. Ask me if I get a boner. And I'm not sure I'd fuck them anyway. But, I mean, I'm very fucking loved here. And you are someone who has fucking touched me unwantedly, repeatedly, and now you're here to fuck with me. I should have just went to the bouncer really at that time. But it's too much. Yeah, I just felt like leaving. I felt like, fuck these places. And Osho says, don't go to those places. When you're spiritual, don't go to those places. They're not for you. You're not supposed to go to those places. You don't fit in there. You might as well go to a church. You don't fit in there. You don't fit into someone who believes God is someone sitting in a... You don't fit in with someone who believes God is someone who's sitting in a canoe and taking a leak, and that's how rain gets here. You don't belong with those people. Oh, I thought I had a different bike now. This game is so hard. I've been playing this so often. I never beat it. TSD didn't know Oblong is bragging. About the things I say about her in the car and at the support group. It's dangerous not to know that people are gay. Oblong didn't know that she's bragging. It'll be interesting to see if I ever see TSF again after making this request not to. As far as I know, every single time, with the exception of Dance Girl walking home from school 2 times, has been her stalking me. And seeing someone once every 2 or 3 years. It'll be interesting to see if that ratio is the new ratio. I don't think Dance Girl is self-aware as well. I renamed Din Venom's pig Judas Catfish. She didn't like that when she saw her name on my phone. And that was going on Kenneth Street 2 times a day. And on TSD trails 2 times a day for years. I saw them once every 2 years. And that was another time on Franklin Street as well. Once on Kenneth, or once on River, actually. Then once on Kenneth, and then a third time on Franklin. Since this whole thing started. So I have the ratios of how often it's supposed to happen naturally. Well, I've gotten over lots of pigs. I got over Steph. I got over Chelsea even. Oh, there's plenty of things on the internet. Look at this Karen. She just can't stand a guy having fun. She can't stand a guy having fun. Seriously. You can't just be a guy having fun. That's not allowed. You didn't ask permission. Don't you know I own the air you breathe? It's like, wow. Bitch, who the fuck are you? They're like, you don't get to ask that. I'm just looking down through a sniper. It's like, I have no words. Isn't it fucking a coincidence that you can't articulate your position? your indefensible position. Well, might is right. Written on the sword, might is right. We're in the information age now. Maybe I did get waterboarded. Or like put my head in the toilet or something. I wouldn't put it past people who try to murder me. On some level, I'm crying because I just got over people who tried to murder me. On some level, I've had the people who tried to murder me and who are still threatening it. I've had them put in prison now. And now I'm free, and now I'm safe. And now I can have emotional maturity again. Which ChatGPT says, when you're constantly under torture and terrorism, your emotions can't develop. Your emotions remain stunted. And now I don't have that anymore. So this is a very celebratory day. The celebration isn't what I thought it was. But perhaps it's what I knew it was. On some level, I go, of course this is obvious. Of course I was saying the whole time, just jack off and you're going to be thinking something different. I was like, no, I can do it as a crazy lunatic who hasn't jacked off in 30 days. I'm all pent up and nuts. I can still hold my own. I can still follow through with what I know. I can still walk the path based on what I know. Like walking the path and knowing the path are two different things. I still know the path when I'm not jacking. I'm just a little bit more, in a strange sense, closer to being neurotic, but in another sense, further away from being neurotic, because I have a lot more strength here. So I can handle the pressure and absorb the pressure. And I can still know what I know, which is more challenging than taking off the pressure. And then it's easy to know what you know. Well, I saw this guy doing 280 on a naked bike on Nürburgring. I was like, that's crazy. I asked Google what a naked bike is, and it's just a really unscientific bike. They remove all the things that make it aerodynamic. So you have wind hitting you at 280 kilometers an hour, and it feels like you're being having an extremely difficult exercise workout with like extreme amounts of difficulty that takes a tremendous amount of muscle to do that. And the guy on this bike in this video, he started doing a wobble, like he almost fell, but then he kept going normal speed. And behind him, the person filming it was on a special bike that has all the special gadgets. And people were extremely impressed that the guy could do this on a naked bike. And so after I asked, it told me it's just a bike that isn't made to make it easy. And I was like, so it's like the same as David Blaine sticking needles through his dick. It's just masochism. And it said, yeah, that's a very succinct and kind of funny way of looking at it, but that does nail it. Now, my dad used to ride a motorcycle that was really fast. Well, he was really fat. I wondered if he rode a naked bike. I think if I got a motorcycle, I would probably go pretty fast. My biological dad went, I think, 280 on a bike. And his brother said, I knew he did that because I had a motorcycle jacket that once you go past 280, the buttons on it come undone. And when he got home, after using my motorcycle, all the buttons were undone on the jacket. And I said, did you go really fast? And he said, no, but I knew that he did. I would get, what was it? I would get a Ducati. I don't know. I don't really know anything about motorcycles. But I would get one that looks kind of like this. I'd get a really fast one. But I'd probably, my cousin Trevor, my smart cousin of the guys is Alex. And Trevor is in the middle. He's also a computer programmer. He also has a nice house. His house is, he's also rich. And he had motorcycles. And I think, and Mark, the other one, he also had motorcycles, but Alex never did. But Alex had a remote control motorcycle, which he gave to me. And I rode on a motorcycle with Mark. And then Trevor was selling his motorcycle. And I said, can I buy it? Just jokingly, he said, I will never sell you a motorcycle. Never, ever, ever will I sell you a motorcycle. And, he wasn't saying you're irresponsible. He was just saying it's not, I don't think he drives them anymore. He's like, it's not good. You're not supposed to drive these things. I don't think Mark drives them anymore either. So I'd probably get a chopper. I'm safe now too. Like, I don't do anything daring when I ride my bike. I'm like as safe as I can be. I keep my music turned down. I ride on speed 3 or speed 4. Even because if I go on speed 5, technically it's illegal. And so I stay safe. I don't like the wind. I don't like wind drag at all. In fact, I would want to get a screen to make the wind not even so bad on my bike. And when TSD drove by to threaten stealing my bike, I was just so upset. I was like, I love my bike so much. Do you know that I had to pay $50 a month for half a year to buy this bike? That's money I needed. That was grocery store money. This bike, I had to pay for this bike. And then I had to pay for Todd's getting put down. And, all this stuff, it cost me money. And I'd be really upset if someone stole my bike. It really upset me. They're threatening to steal my bike and kill me if I go on, walk on Franklin Street. I'm like, do you really think you're not gang stalked? Do you really think that? I don't think you think that. I think you're just angry or something. I'm not angry. I'm fucking based. Now again, I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to cry. I'm going to say I'm so alone and I should get euthanized. And everything's hopeless. and saying I'm based and I'm fucking this and I'm that, I'm gonna turn the camera off and I'm gonna feel like crying. Helen cries a lot after she talks to Xander. I think, why do you keep talking to him for? I got even jealous. I thought, I wish I had a bad relationship. You at least didn't get dumped. You at least go back. But it really is the same. Because going back it doesn't matter if someone's stalking you. Going back is something that you do in your heart. I thought it's totally different. At least he visits you. At least he lives with you. At least he fucks you. After a while, I was like, it's not different. It's a totally unequal, unfair, joyless, burdensome relationship where your boundaries are not respected and you're in more pain because of it. And it's the exact same thing. It might not look the same, but opening your heart up to someone who's there just to fuck with you, it's the exact same thing. And I worry sometimes I'm that King Kong gorilla dick daddy in our family, and Helen's taking after me. And I'm like, okay, I will be a better example then. And Google says, because Helen isn't a whore and she has her own money, she has her own car, she has her own apartment, she can easily pay for her own buying whatever she wants, she can travel wherever she wants, she travels, she can buy her own house. Because she has that, the dating pool of guys who meet her standards is much less. If she was just a hoe, she could accept a rich daddy. Or, just fucking basically. But she can't do that. It's the same with my mom. I think it's the same with my dad. He's not a whore. There are many forms of payment. Even if your guy isn't rich, he could be your bodyguard. He could be your sense of security. Even if your girlfriend isn't paying you, she's still paying you in sex for her otherwise inability to get you. As a guy, you can be a whore too. And I don't think my dad is that. And I don't think I'm that either. And that's pretty fucking painful. I mean, I've had times, I'm not trying to brag here, I've had some pretty highfalutin, good-looking pigs who said, I'll do anything for you, just don't leave. Let me get my claws into you a little bit. I don't need them that far. Just let me get them into you a little bit. And you got it made. And I was like, I'm never going down like that. I always said, fuck that. I'll go down alone. Yeah, like that song by Trezors, Plien. We might be solo all the way. Yep, it's true, we might be. We might be solo all the way. But I'm never going down in one of those bullshit relationships with someone I fucking hate. With someone who doesn't get me. I'm never doing that. I've tried it. I've been there. I've tried it and 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 I've tried it. It doesn't fucking work. And it doesn't change the feeling of feeling alone and feeling lonely and feeling like no one understands you and no one gets you and you're completely alone and you want to cry and you want to vent and you want to scream into the abyss and you say, would you just have a moment of intimacy with me? I can be more intimate literally saying hi to a stranger than I can with you. Literally talking to an old lady, I can feel like she understands everything about who I am and what my life is more than you can. and I couldn't feel more lonely than I am with you. And your hot ass, and the fact that I want to be inside you and get you pregnant doesn't actually mean that it would make me happy. It would just make me defer my life and make my purpose someone else, because I could never take responsibility for myself because the pain of growth is too much and I'm a coward little baby beta bitch. I was like, fuck that. I'll never go down with someone like that. I'll go down alone. But at the same time, being alone, what does that mean? Just get high on drugs all the time? No, I'll do the best I can to not be alone. I want it all. I want money and I want pigs. And I even want just one pig. I would even consider just a monogamous marriage with a pig at this point. And not even calling her a pig. I'd call her a fucking woman. I'm already starting to feel a bit embarrassed about calling pigs pigs. And that's fine. I'm happy to grow up. Would you really want to be 40 and you still call people pigs? It's more of a thing you do in your 30s. I think I'm gearing up to call women women and believing that it's worthwhile to be a man so that a woman might love me. And being as manly as I can. You know, get like a nice body and get fit, be like happy and well read, and remember, when you're happy, a lot of that is just chemical. It's just your gut is your brain. All your happy chemicals, your serotonin, it's made in your gut, I think. I could be wrong, but I know in general it's true. I might be wrong about the specific chemical, but I know in general your happy feelings are created by your diet. And I know it from experience as well. So my first psychiatrist, Dr. Doss, meaning servant of God, said, if you want to do something in your life, you have until age 42. And if you don't do it by then, you'll never do it. I thought, okay, Dr. Doss. He looked at my dick as well. He glanced at my dick. I almost told my doctor that. I almost said, and if he's so great, why did he look at my dick? But right at the last second, it was on the tip of my tongue to say that, and I would have thought it was so cool, and it would have really backfired. And then right at the last second, I changed it. I said, why did he say his headphones are better than mine? Which he did. And my doctor laughed. It would have been really bad had I said that other thing. And I said, we're all God. And he said, well, I had a patient who was saying he was God, and I put him in the mental ward for that. And I said, if you're God, you should be able to escape. And I said, that's not what I meant, Dr. Doss, and you know it. And, but he was nice. He said, I'm not going to diagnose you as crazy because I'm not sure you are. And I don't want that to follow you. If you have if I diagnose you as having bipolar or schizophrenia, and really you're just doing a bunch of acid and smoking a bunch of weed and not eating because you're spending all your food money on drugs and you're being gang stalked, it would be irresponsible to give you this diagnosis. And, he said, whatever you're going to do, you got to do it by age 42. And I'm like, I'm 39 now. And I'm like, I could get out my mucoid plaque and have a super hot body by age 42. And not only that, but I could have a super different personality as well. I could have a much more sober personality. And I believe that since psychology is not a real subject, if I wanted to, I could go back to school. But I probably wouldn't because school sucks so much. I hate school so much. I can't even tell you how much I hate school. So, but I think I could do it. I could do it rather easily with with a fruitarian brain chemistry, not jacking off, plus a fruitarian brain chemistry. My memory works much better, much fucking better. And like not smoking weed, I didn't smoke weed in university or college, but not jacking off really changes your memory. It really, really changes how your memory works. And especially eating fruit. I mean, if I were to take attention deficit disorder medication, I could have, my memory could be fucking really good. And I could probably get through school rather easily. But then I would fucking hate it. I would fucking hate it. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's not monotonous. It's easy to sit on a beach and dig holes and let the tide fill them in every 15 minutes. And then just keep digging them all day. And just dig little tiny holes the size of a thimble. No effort is really needed. Just keep doing that. But the monotony of it, that is effort. That's fucking torture. And they know it. They're teaching you such bullshit there. And they know it. They're castrating you through that. They're removing your freedom of speech. You can't assert anything original or obvious or common sense. It's all politics, as Anthony Kiedis says. It's fucking bullshit. School is so dumb. School is just a hindrance to education. They don't teach anything worthwhile. It's all useless. It's all in the service of the CIA. It's literally in the service of Mossad and the CIA. It's them. That's who school is. Literally, that's literally who school is. It's them. So that you think a virus is real. So that you believe that monogamy is important. So that you're sexually repressed. So that you can be dragged into war. That's literally what it is. And so that you lose the ability to think critically. And you just learn rote memorization and repetitive feeding back whatever you've been fed. You learn how to do it to someone else. How to spread the dogma. No, what good could I do as a psychiatrist or a psychologist? Unless R.D. Laing, I do have Osho's permission. He says it is good to be a psychologist. A psychologist is a criminal. They're a defector of humanity. They're here to dehumanize you. They're here to bring you to a state of mental illness. But it's yet to be done to have a psychologist in the West, with the exception of someone like R.D. Laing, just barely, who factors in consciousness and meditation on behavior. Someone who makes their whole thesis, what is the effect of meditation on behavior? Or in other words, what is the effect of the psyche on psychology? What is the effect of the psyche on your behavioral logic? No one in the West has done this. In the East, they've done this forever. But in the West, they haven't. And the West dominates the whole world now. So this would be a good thing. But it would be a constant fight. But it would be a thing to do. It could be a thing to do. Now, hanging out with a bunch of college retards, oh man. I only had one professor I liked. I had a few, but, you know, there was only one who I listened to. There was only one I respected. Yeah, there were some I liked, though. I guess I respected them, but they were useless, in other words. Now, one of the best games I've played is Need for Speed Heat. See, can you see how I fall all the time? What's up with that? Oh, it can be very discouraging being a targeted individual. If I didn't have the Guardian Gang Stalkers, I would be fucking at a loss. But do you know the price I paid to get the Guardian Gang Stalkers has been extreme. It's been extreme. It was so big. Had I known how big it would be, I never would have done it. And by the time I was paying it, it was too late. I was like, I'm already paying it. I got it. There's nothing else to do but move forward. And I appreciate where I'm at, too. I don't have a guilt complex anymore. I'm not in a state of post-traumatic shock anymore. I don't necessarily feel as clean and whole and total as I used to, but I feel the possibility, I feel the potential is there. Again, this is new. Today is a new day for me. I'm single today. I haven't been single in 6 years. I've been in a forced relationship for 6 years. And today I'm single for the first time. I wonder if Marina still watches my videos. She was really fucking lacking hips to waist ratio. She had no fucking ass. And she photoshopped the fuck out of her pictures. That's brazen. That's fucking brazen. Talk about catfishing. That'll make you mistrust someone. You're like, if it doesn't matter, you're like, it's just looks. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter, then why would you Photoshop your pictures? Make me feel like the shallow one? Why would you Photoshop your pictures? I could masturbate to her. I have a video of her. Sometimes it's nice. I masturbated to this fat girl named Kat. I told Topher, I was like, I feel kind of guilty for saying this, but guess who I jacked it to? Kat. She offered me a blowjob too. She had a really nice face. I should have taken it. I would have in hindsight. But no offense to fat people. There are different kinds of fat people. I'm not sure if she was skinny, I would have been attracted to her. But her fucking, because her bone, her hips to waist her fucking ratio wasn't that good, I don't think. But, and she, anyways, I told Topher, I was like, I jacked off to Kat. Can you believe it? And he's like, yeah, I did it too. He's like, it's so wrong, it's right. You gotta do it just to see what it's like. Topher called her a fat, unabled-bodied slob or something, which, that was crazy, like calling her that. Like, she's like a really nice person. And Topher was really mean. Like, he would do stand-up about the girls he'd fuck. He'd be like, this ugly pig. He didn't call them pigs, but he's like, this girl, he called her Shrek. And he's talking about how her tampon fell out in his bed. And he's doing a stand-up routine about it at our college campus, like at the Yuck Yucks, right near our college campus. And he is just really brutal. I felt bad for Shrek. She was nice. She was really happy. Topher's like a self-made millionaire with a perfect 10 wife, an extremely rare bubble butt, extreme hips to waist ratio, very supple, like very, very gorgeous. And, and some slam pig would be like, oh my God, Topher's with me. And then he's like, yeah, he's like doing stand-up comedy about her, calling her Shrek and saying how her fucking tampon fell out and was in his bed. And I felt bad for her. Topher's not that good looking, and he has tonsil stones. When he sneezes, you can smell it. I was always really grossed out by his breath. He's one of those people who he gets away with it. He's so disgusting. He's always coughing and horking up phlegm. And he's coughing like right in your face. He was pretty gross, really. You know, he probably got his pig by being so rich. And he's so funny too. He's absolutely extremely funny. He made my mom howl laughing right before she got angry at him. Like the same thing that made her laugh. After she laughs, she turns around and talks about, you know, he's like yelling at my mom. He's like, you let my best friend fucking starve himself. You keep him chained up in a basement with cat shit dreads, letting him get high all day. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And, you know, my mom like burst out laughing, and then she's like, what an asshole. She pulled a Stella. Topher is really funny. He's really fucking funny. And if you talk about God with him, he's totally on board. He's like, yep. Topher's someone who you feel like you're his best friend right away. He has the vibe of Dickie Greenleaf. He totally seduces you. And he makes you feel like you're the most important person. And he's super funny. He's so funny. It's like you meet someone with superpowers and they're in love with you. That's how you feel. You feel like the most important person in the world, and you're like, and I know him and he has superpowers. I remember watching him drive away in his Jeep when he was going home to Michigan or wherever he lives in the States. Now he lives in Hollywood. And I remember feeling like, there goes my hero. Like, I was like, I'm devastated here. Like, this is like my best friend here. And Travis was too. Like, it was the three of us in Toronto. But I think Travis and I both like Topher the best. Well, we'd all be hanging out in the kitchen, and he'd say, come here, come on into my bedroom for a minute. I can't talk to these people. I have to tell you something. And he'd close the door, and it's like, oh, I'm so special. Like, Topher needs to talk to just me. And he's like, I feel like we're in Fight Club, and you're like Tyler Durden, and I'm Edward Norton, and we're like the same person. And I was like, ooh, you know, that really got me going, because I was gay for fucking Brad Pitt. I was like, yeah, you think I'm cool? Because I really thought he was cooler than me, and that made me feel like he's like telling me this. He lived on the floor right beneath me in res, so we were in the same class together. And he'd pull his dick out in class right next to the teacher. And he'd say, Zach, look. And I'd be like, what? And he'd just keep watching. And he's standing right in front of right beside the teacher. The teacher's sitting at his desk. And his dick is in peripheral view of the teacher, but his shirt is covering it. And then he lifts his shirt up and you can see his dick. And the whole class starts laughing. And the teacher has no idea. You know, or another time he just pissed all over the floor in class when the teacher walked out. He's like, fuck Mark Breslin, fuck this school. He just literally pisses in front of the entire class on the floor. And then this one pig, Alicia Pigelow, this girl Alicia, she cleans it up for him. She didn't want him to get in trouble. And then another time we were doing a performance and he did a mangina. Oh shit, my controller just died. It was so funny. I was like crying. I was laughing so hard. He's like, remember when I went to summer camp? I got a pussy installed. He pulls his pants down. Okay, this is weird. I'm plugging it in. My controller, it's hard to plug in. I think I'm doing pretty good right now. I think I'm processing this. Yeah, I cried. I feel like my heart is locked, but in a good way, not in a repressed way. I need a new chord. Topher used to always sing, "My friends think I'm joking when I say that I'm gay. My friends all think I'm joking when I say that I'm gay." He pulled his dick out at a nightclub too, doing comedy. Not even a nightclub, just a Ryerson bar. Ryerson is a university or a college in Toronto, and they had an open stand-up mic night. My stand-up was terrible that night. I followed him, which is impossible. Following Topher is impossible. And there are these like jocks making fun of him. And one of them was like, "Show us your dick." And he's like, "Okay." And he instantly pulls his dick out. And there were some people in the audience, like, who were laughing so hard. It was like the hardest they've ever laughed. Like they had never expected anything like that would ever happen. And, you know, I went up, and by that time he's already getting kicked out of the bar, and he's waiting outside for me to finish my set, which was fucking completely stupid after his. You know, I was never really funny. But I enjoyed doing sketch comedy. And we had a troupe. It was called Satchel of Dragons. And it was me and Topher and Travis. And we also had a boy band named the same thing. And our hit song was, I want to make you scream. We had this one really good looking friend named Max who looked like Brad Pitt. And Topher just walks in on him once in the shower and shits in his own hand, and then jumps in the shower and is like, "Max, check it out, I made a shit for you." Then Max had a recording studio. Max was really good looking, like really, really crazy good looking. Like he literally looked like Brad Pitt, like actually, like literally exactly like him. And he made Topher pay to record at his studio. And Topher was like, "Fuck you," you know, like, "Fuck you forever." I think Max was in Topher's band too, but just like a side person. Topher's music sucked, but it was popular. His song was like, "Sitting on the porch with the 40, I got nothing to do in the afternoon." And he had saxophone players and everything, and he'd rap. He's a real character. His first stand-up was so funny. He has this one video where he just shits in the toilet from like 3 feet away. Like he does a projectile shit. His video is like he's a magician, and he's like, "Pick a card, any card." And the guy picks a card, and he's like, Now focus, concentrate. And as he's telling the guy to concentrate, he just pulls down his pants and explosive diarrheas all over the toilet. And when they were selling his house, like he had a rental house. But the end of his skit, by the way, where he's like, I want you to concentrate on the card. He ends up just coming on a cracker or something, coming on the card or something. And then he's like, is this your card? And then he wipes a cracker on his butthole and then he eats it. And then when his house was getting sold and they had people coming through, Travis didn't even open his door. The real estate agent was there. Probably you can't even hear this. It's probably like, the microphone probably died. Oh, it's still on. And Topher just took a huge shit on the toilet seat and just left it there. And so they're like knocking on Travis's room door and he's just not even answering. He's like, I don't even have to let you in. And then they show the house and there's like a huge shit on the toilet seat. Like it must have been so fucked up for those people. One time that Alicia girl came over and he just jacked off to her right in plain sight. Like there's just a bunch of people in the room and he's like, oh, nice tits. He pulls his dick out and just literally jacks off and comes on the floor while staring at her. I was on the phone with someone once and he just took a shit in a box. He's like, extra, read all about it. Like I'm talking to my mom on the phone and he's like pretending to be a paper boy in front of me. Taking a shit in a box. And he's pretty gross. He's pretty fucking gross, but really funny. You know, these are some nice memories I have. Well, I guess an old man looks back, a young man looks forward. I got one foot in the grave, I guess. I'd still like to have a girlfriend. It feels impossible sometimes. I'd rather be stupid and insensitive. Fucking jerk. Well, Mark Breslin said something like that, I think. Even an idiot can be right. He ended up giving us dating advice. He said, you want to meet girls? You go get your makeup done. He really said that. He said, literally, go get your makeup done, and that's who you're going to meet, is the makeup artists. I was like, I don't even like it when girls wear makeup, let alone a guy. I don't want to wear makeup. I wonder why my dad didn't like him. Travis and I and Topher hated him. Well, yeah, he fucking screwed us over. And that Lewis guy, too, who wore red shoes, he was a bragger. He talked about how he was friends with really highfalutin people. And Topher sent me some of his poetry once, and it was really fucked up. Like some of his Facebook posts or something. And it was like, it was seriously sick. Hide in plain sight sick, not sick, like, you know. And then I made a sculpture out of shit and fucked someone after I froze it with it. It wasn't like that, but it was that level, but like in really snooty, pretentious talk. Louis Beaumander, I think was his name. And he would be someone, you know, if he would be someone who you would go, if you knew him, you'd go, oh, that guy drives a nice car. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. But it's like that'd be a guy who drives a nice car and he doesn't even like it. He drives it just because he thinks you like it. Like that kind of guy. A fucking politic. Someone who it appears like they're a college instructor, but really they're a politician. Now, was that Louis Beaumander? I think so. He wore red shoes. There was another instructor I really liked. I hope it wasn't him, though. I hope I'm not saying the wrong name. The one that Topher and I pretended to be gorillas, and we flipped the tables over, and the instructor had to scream and locked us out of the classroom. That was a nice professor. That was a nice instructor. I hope that wasn't Lewis, but I can't remember his name. But that was the one that Topher pulled his dick out in front of. But this one I'm talking about, he had a shaved head and a kind of small head. I think he wore statement glasses. And he wore red shoes. But only once. I think it was Louis Bowmander, but I can't remember the name of that other one. I really liked him. He was a real sweetheart. He felt really bad for screaming at Topher and I. He's like, I hope you guys know why I had to do that. I hope I'm not mislabeling Lewis here. Whatever. The guy who I'm thinking is Louis Bowmander with the red shoes, he had like a shaved head. He called me a black hole. I was like, do you realize that Mark and Lauren cut out all the scenes of us, even though we had the populism vote, to give it all to a girl in McDonald's commercials who's beautiful, who jokes about what pimps you guys are, that if anyone needs anything, just ask her because she owns you. And now I'm doing fucking backup roles at Second City. You think I wouldn't be a little bit disheartened by this? You think we don't know what's happening here with this horny little pervert, Mark Breslin? This horny little fucking pervert, Mark Breslin? This fucking little criminal, this criminal little fucking pervert? And Lauren from SNL, big hokey, big gentle fucking giant. Hokey fuck. Tacky hokey fuck. Okay, this controller doesn't work. I need a new cord. I'm gonna go look for a new cord. Oh shit. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. If you weren't here, I'd be fucking crying and jacking off. But the microphone's about to die, so yeah, maybe I'll go.